Today we're going to be changing the drum brake on an Apollo City. We're going to be doing it on the front, however it's the exact same process for the rear wheel as well. The tools we're using in this video are an adjustable wrench, a 4mm Allen key, and a 2.5mm Allen key. The first thing we're going to have to do to change the drum brake on the Apollo City is to remove the screws securing the front fender and securing the drum brake from the wheel. So I'm going to take my 2.5mm Allen key. So those were the two screws for the fender securing, and then now I'm going to use my 4mm Allen key to remove the screw that's securing the drum brake. Now I'm going to remove the two screws securing the fender on the other side of the wheel. There obviously is not a drum brake on the other side of the wheel, so there's no drum brake screw. Our next step is to free the wheel from the front forks in order to give us access to the drum brake. So for this, I'm going to be using the adjustable wrench. If you don't have an adjustable wrench, a 21mm wrench is the correct size. I like to use an adjustable wrench because one tool for many jobs is better than many tools for one job. Now that I have the lug nuts off, there's lock washers holding the wheel in place, making sure these axles don't spin. So I'm going to close up my adjustable wrench and just give them a little tug. So now that we have our lug nuts removed, our two screws securing the fender gone, and our screw securing the drum brake gone, I'm going to deinstall the drum brake arm just by turning this nut all the way to the left until it completely comes off. Remove it completely. And now I'm going to take this piece with the spring and remove it just by pulling it from the arm. Now our wheel is completely free. We can take the spring off, make sure we keep it safe, and I'm going to push with my thumbs down on the dropouts. Fender will fall, and here is the front wheel free. Now you'll see the brake line can be removed. You can leave that there. And now it's just a simple matter. These two spacer washers, removing them, and you can simply pull the drum brake off. So now we're going to take our replacement drum brake, slide it on. There's only one way you can put it on. The only other way would be to put it backwards, which is obviously incorrect. Then we're going to grab our two spacers that we pulled off, slide them on. Now I'm going to take the brake line and run the metal cable into this channel here and making sure it rests there. So as you can see, I grabbed a chair to sit in so I can support the wheel on my leg. Once the drum brake's in, my spacer washers are on. Now I need to put in the front fender. And this is where having the chair really helps. Sometimes you need to sort of pull the forks apart. It doesn't seem like you're moving them a lot, but even just a millimeter of space can be the difference between getting it in and not getting it in. Now, you see this post isn't perfectly aligned with the dropout. So I'm going to take my adjustable wrench, just put it on there and spin it. This will spin both sides in unison. And now I line it up. I can push with my leg as well as my hands and get it seated in there. If everything's tight as it should be, it shouldn't drop out. So now that our front wheel is in the dropouts, everything is secure. The wheel should be secure in these forks, even without the lug nuts installed. But that's our next step, is to install the lug nuts. I'm going to take the lock washer, put it in, make sure the forks or the wheel is pushed up as much as it can. This lock washer should fit almost perfectly in the space for it here. There's a little cavity there. And then installing the lug nut should flatten it out. It won't be perfectly flush, but it will be more flush than than it was before after you install the lug nut. Now we have our lug nut installed. Now we need to secure the drum brake and install the brake line. So the drum brake should still be able to spin. Right, you can see this point, it's moving. It requires a bit of force to move it. Our goal here is to align the hole, or the threaded hole that secures the drum brake to the forks with where the screw goes into. So I think I've gotten it pretty close. I'm gonna put the screw in and just see. Yeah, and I got it just right the first time. It's possible you'll need to put this screw in and then judge and maybe do a slight adjustment with where the drum brake is placed. Now I'm going to install the brake line into the lever of the drum brake. So I need to hop the metal cable, put it into the channel there. Put my spring on, as well as put this retaining piece here. And put the arm through. Now I'm going to finish it up with this end piece. And I'm just tightening. To find the sweet spot, I'm going to tighten it until I feel the brake engaging when I spin the wheel. It's going to be a subtle thing at first, but you should hear noise if you're in a quiet room of the brakes rubbing and slowing down the wheel. And then once we find that point, we're just going to loosen it a little bit to make sure the brake will be tight. So it's still spinning freely. And I can hear a bit of the brakes engaging, so I'm just going to back it off a couple turns. And that's it. So the final step is securing the front fender by reinstalling the 2 screws on each side with a 2.5mm Allen key. If you're finding the holes don't line up with where they're supposed to go, you can loosen the lug nuts and sort of readjust the fender until they line up. It's pretty specific. There's only one way it can go in. Sometimes takes a little bit of playing. And voila, you've just changed the drum brake on an Apollo City.